Tonight is our last meeting for the year 2014. So I thought it appropriate that I preach a message that relates to the new year. Around about this time of the year, everybody's waiting with anticipation, making New Year's resolutions, trying to decide what they're going to do and not going to do for the new year, and trying to build up some new hopes for the year that lies ahead. So, what stands before us very shortly is a new journey. A journey that's going to last 12 months, 365 days, unless it's a leap year. Not a leap year, is it? I don't know, it might be. No, okay. So we're about to start a journey, and I'd like to speak on your journey into the new year. Now, there's a few things that people get wrong, especially as believers, when they start to look at the future. The first thing you need to realize is that the year ahead has not been predetermined in every detail by the Lord. Romans 8 verse 38 says, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. It does not say, and everything has been planned by God. It says God is going to make everything that happens work together for good. So as we go into the new year, we don't go into this fatalistic attitude that what's going to be is going to be. God's already decided, not much I can do about it, really is there. No, each of us must determine our own destiny. Each one of you must decide what you want as you walk into this new year. And then you need to take all your desires and your plans and give them to the Lord to set them in motion. Now, I've taught in the way to success on 4 important things that we need to do to succeed in life: dreams, goals, plans, and action. As you journey into this new year, you will need dreams, goals, plans, and action. And so I want to look at these 4 from a slightly different viewpoint, specifically as it relates to the year that lies ahead. And I want us to understand very well how these principles work. Otherwise, you may find that the journey is not going to be as good as you thought. You're going to find it's not going to go where you hoped. But if you get it right, this year could be one of the best you've ever had. So let's learn how to get it right before we hit this. On your marks, get set, bang! It'll come in a few days' time as we get together for our new year. We need to allow God to give us dreams. Dreams that are a bit more than just fantasy. We all have our fantasies and our dreams. And quite honestly, most of the time we never really expect those fantasies to be fulfilled. It's just a little dream, a little make-believe world that we live in. If you can allow God to give you dreams that come from Him, then you know it's not just a fantasy, it's something more real. So when you start this year dreaming, don't leave the Lord out. Make Him part of your dreams. Allow Him to give you new dreams. And then take the dreams that you have and hand them over to Him and say, Lord, can you confirm that this dream is right? Or do you think it needs to be modified a little bit? Have I got the picture right, or am I a little bit too extreme? Am I expecting too much? Give your dreams to the Lord. Allow Him to give you new dreams. And your dreams now become more than just a fantasy. They become something real. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to cut your dreams down to more logical things that make sense and that are more believable. No. Now your dreams must be big. They must really big. In fact, what's going to happen, you give your dreams to the Lord, God's likely to say to you, that's too small. That's too small. Is that all that you can dream for? Is that all that you can believe for? I got better things for you. So don't think that by giving the Lord your dreams, you're going to cut them down to size and take away all those fantasies. Now, God's likely to say to you, come on, let's make this dream bigger. You can do better than that. I've got better things in mind for you than that. Let's make your dreams bigger. And then, of course, once the Lord gives you confirmation concerning your dreams become more possible, don't they? Then you know that finally, after all these years of dreaming, God is saying, yes, yes, I want you to fulfill that dream. Now we bring it out of the realm of fantasy into the realm of possibility. And now we have something real that we can aim for. Now we are more able to set goals that are likely to take place. Goals that have been approved by the Lord. Goals that are reachable. And since we're only looking at 1 year for now, let's start for a goal that's going to take no longer than a year to fulfill. Some of the goals and the dreams we have could take another 20 years. If I live that long, I'm still dreaming. But we're talking the new year, so we got to kind of limit our thinking now and set our goals to the new year. Okay, so here again, that's why we need the Lord to help us to set our goals for the new year. See, because the year is a fixed length. So if you're going to reach your goal by Christmas next year, or New Year's Day next year, or Easter, or your birthday, whatever date you want to set, there are going to be time limits. There's time limits. You're going to say, by March, April, I expect to reach that goal. Well, maybe to start a bigger goal, perhaps September, October. Or perhaps I'll just make it by next Christmas. But you're going to have an idea in your mind of exactly what goal you're aiming for and by when you hope to achieve it. Because when the year's over, it's over and we start again for the next year. So yes, we've got all our old goals and dreams that are going to go into the future. But I'm looking about setting specific things for 2015, the year that lies ahead. Now, there may be goals that take a bit more than a year. Doesn't mean you need to put them off. But each year you're going to put them off. Get started into them. But understand that that goal is not going to be reached by this year. But at least be able to say, well, you know, I'd like to at least get half the way, quarter of the way. Maybe at least get through the first stage. See, so by all means, set your long-range goals. But for the year ahead, how far do you plan to go in reaching that goal? Because if you're going to wait for it to happen, you know what's going to happen. Next year, you're going to get down and do the same thing again. You can find yourself about the same place. And 20 years later, you're about the same place. And you know what? When you get to my age, 20 years is a bit dicey. Because after 20 years, I'm not capable of accomplishing many goals. I'm going to be a doddering old man. Well, I hope not, but it could be. So don't waste the year. Don't waste it. Even if your goal and your dream is too big, at least use the year ahead to get in and start accomplishing it. And then once you've made your goals, of course, we've got to start making some plans. It's the first thing that we need to do before we plan anything. If you were going on a natural journey, hey, we're going to go and we're going to take a trip down to the coast. That's going to be where we're going to have our holiday. Well, what's the first thing you're going to take into account? What's it going to cost us? Have we got enough money to do this? We're going to need so much for petrol, gasoline, diesel, whatever you're using. We may have to stop along the way. Have accommodation. What about the cost of meals? And when we get there, what about our accommodation? What are we going to pay while we're there? How much is it going to cost me to make this journey? I mean, it's common sense, isn't it? It's common sense in the natural. What about your life journey into the year that lies ahead? You see, unfortunately, in this world, as they say in the classics, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You get nothing for nothing. Well, you know, I'm believing God. I'm a believer, and God will give it to me. You'll get nothing for nothing. You mean I can't trust God? Yeah, you can trust God, but it's going to cost you to trust God. There's a price to pay. Even your trust in God is a price you will have to pay. So don't think you're going to sit there, it's all going to fall on you, because God's going to take care of me. It's going to shower me with blessings, and I can sit on my backside doing nothing while it all happens. There's a price to pay. And if you're not prepared to pay the price, you're not going to see the fulfillment of your dreams. You're not going to reach your goal. So get this straight in your mind. What's it going to cost me? What's it going to cost me? You know, if you want anything that costs money, what's the first thing you do? You say, well, you know, we don't have the money to buy this right now, but I can save up until I have enough money to buy it. Okay, this is the price it's going to cost me. How long is it going to take me to save up enough money to buy the thing that I desire? And you sit down and you work out your budget. And you say, well, we can afford to save and put aside so much every month. And it's going to take me so many months to finally accumulate that money to get what I want. See, we do that in the natural. We assess the cost. We decide what we're prepared to pay, what we're able to pay, and we work out a future schedule, a plan, and we even set a deadline, and we say, by June this year, we should have enough money to buy it. You can do that in the natural, but what do you do in the spiritual? What happens if the thing you desire cannot be bought with money? What happens if it decides on some qualities that need to be developed in you? See, what happens if it depends on your knowledge and how much you know? What if it depends on your appearance and what you look like? What if it depends on where you are, your location? What if it depends on your attitude? What if it depends on your behavior? Ooh. See, I'm ready to save my money, but it's going to cost me a bit here. I'm going to have to work and start doing some studying and learning if I increase my knowledge. See, I may have to do a bit of diet and exercise to change my appearance. The actors do that so they can act in a movie. Maybe I need to move to a different location, like all the way across the sea from where I've been comfortable for the last 20 years. That's a price to pay. What about changing your attitude? Ooh, what's wrong with my attitude? Well, maybe your attitude is stopping people from responding to you. Maybe your attitude is closing doors that could open before you. See, attitude is where you combine your mind and your will together. And you choose what you're going to think, and you choose what you're going to say and do. You choose the demeanor that you present to people. You choose whether you're going to smile or scowl. Yeah, that's quite a costly thing, you know. Some people find that more difficult than saving money. What if it depends on you changing totally and becoming a different person? How are you going to go about this? See, you need to know things in the natural, but you also need to get revelation from the Lord. Plus, the Lord knows the future, and we don't. And because He knows the future, when we finally move beyond our plans into actions, is the right time for our actions. And I want to really speak about that in some detail. But you see, if we can come to the Lord, He helps us to make our plans more carefully so that we get it right and everything falls into place. You see, having a goal does not guarantee success. Well, you know, we're planning to do this, we're going to go there, we're going to do that. And you know, what happens? Something messes up and spoils the whole picture. Something comes into your life you did not expect. And it doesn't only happen sometimes. It happens most of the time. See, life is fragile. Life is full of surprises. Life will throw a curveball at you and make you spin off in the wrong direction. Suddenly and unexpectedly. and you didn't expect it to happen. Life will put unexpected obstacles right in your paths to block you and delay you, set you right off your schedule. Life will create diversions to sidetrack you and get you going off in the totally wrong direction, and you'll miss your target. That's what life's going to do to you. And then we have an enemy. We have an enemy out there, especially as believers, and he wants to make sure you don't reach your goals. So he's got to get his nose in there as well. So you need the Lord to show you ahead of time and to warn you that some of these things are going to happen. But we just go off like a bull in a china shop. I got my goals. I got my dreams. Here we go. Yeah, buff, and we hit the wall. Oh, what happened there? That's not fair. See, if you've been in tune with the Lord and listening and being led by him, you may have got that little warning in your spirit that says, be careful. Be careful. Sometimes God has to modify your plans for you. So, but I prayed about it, and he gave me those plans, and he told me what to do. I'm sure he did, but maybe somebody else messed it up. You see, somebody else in the play missed their cue. The other actors in the play, he forgot his part. See, because you're not all alone. You're not an island. You're in a world where there are many people involved in you reaching your goal. God wanted to take the nation of Israel into the promised land. 10 of the spies messed it up. And they had to go around the wilderness for 40 years, and they missed God's plan. Well, poor old Joshua and Caleb, they never missed it. They got it right. You know what? They still had to go around the wilderness for 40 years. And God still allowed them to fulfill it eventually, but it got delayed, not because of their own fault, because it's somebody else's fault. God may need you to change your plans. So don't think, well, I got my plan from the Lord. This is what he showed me, so it's all going to fall nicely in place. Bim, boom, boom, boom. And there it is. Isn't it wonderful? You open your big mouth and you say, by such and such, I'm going to have this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to be that. Be careful. James says, those of you who say we're going to go and we're going to do this, you say, if God's willing, if God's in this, yes. Just be ready for God sometimes to say, okay, you know that road you're going on? Not going that way, you're going this way now. Totally different direction. But Lord, you confirmed the road. I got that prophetic word, I got the vision, revelation. I journal about it. God says, change direction. See, if you're not listening to his voice, you know what's going to happen? You're going to go in that direction, get smack bang into the wall and break your nose and wonder what the heck is going on. And then you want to wallow and give up. We've got to keep the Lord in the picture. You may need to take a detour. He's going to have to show you where to take the detour. Sometimes you just feel like turning around going back. Yeah, maybe that's what he wants you to do as well. I don't know. But usually there'll be a detour. Don't you hate detours? You're traveling so beautiful on this lovely new highway. And you can put your foot flat and go the full speed limit. Things are going great, and then, yep. And you're off on this dirty little gungy road, and you're saying, you know what, we were planning on being there by lunchtime. We're not going to do it at this rate with this huge, long, bumpy road. We've got to slow right down. Be ready for detours. It's going to happen. Once God sets things in place for you, your actions may need to be perfectly timed with circumstances. Expressives, they get all excited and they go off half-cocked. Bam! You know what half-cocked means? You know where they half-cock the gun when you pull it, instead of igniting the bullet, you just go tick, and the bullet don't get fired. Yeah, that's exactly what happens when you go off half-cocked and you try to run ahead of the Lord when things are not set up yet. I don't understand. God promised me, but it's not working. If God promised you, he didn't say, do it now. You need to know when to wait. And you need to know when to act. You need to know what actions to take at the right time, and you need to know what actions to hold back until the time is right. He said, now you're making it complicated. How do I know when is the right time? See, the analytical's waiting for the right time, and the right time bypasses him. Expressive don't have time to wait for the right time and runs right past it. See, we have these opposite extremes. See, it's no good getting all inspired and going off like a skyrocket. You know, somebody may miss the final bang at the end and not enjoy it. And the rocket's spent and gone. You can't do it again. You see, acting too soon and acting too late, they're both bad ideas. They could both cause you to miss the opportunity. So how do we avoid that? We submit our plans to the Lord and ask Him to arrange the circumstances that will help everything come to pass. How's He going to do that? Well, the first thing He's going to do is get the angels working. Angels are going to be working behind the scene. They're going to be moving people around like pieces on a chessboard. Okay, this guy needs to be there. Let's get him out of the way. Okay. Oh, that guy over there, let's bring him over from Mexico. You know, he needs to be here in South Africa. You know, the guy there in Switzerland, no use to us there. Okay, let's make him at least come here for a few weeks. You've got to be here before it's going to happen. See, and he thinks he's coming on holiday. But the angels were at work, you see. They were bringing him there for another purpose. See, that's how the angels work. They arrange all the circumstances. They bring people into the right place. And this guy here, he's just a stumbling block. Let's just send him off overseas for a couple of years. See, whatever it's going to take. The angels are going to arrange that. God's going to work it out. See, it takes time for this to happen. It takes time. You got your plans, you got your goals, you got your dream. I'm ready to go. The circumstances aren't right. You may be ready, but the other actors in the play aren't ready. They don't know their parts yet. So you're going to go off half-cocked. You're going to miss it. So sometimes you may have to wait. Okay? Now, God can use natural circumstances, and He often does, to show you the timing. God may have to speak to certain people, tell them what to do. If you're going to move people in place, He's going to have to speak to them. Well, how many people actually can hear God's voice? I'm not just talking about Christians. It's not only Christians involved here. It's unbelievers also. What is the chance of an unbeliever hearing God's voice? Those Christians haven't learned how to do that yet. But God's going to have to speak. So how's He going to speak? Well, He may use His angels to put thoughts in people's minds. God may use a person who can hear Him and tell them, and they'll come and tell you. They'll come and tell another person. So God can use a person to speak God's words. God can use the angels to do that. And then, you know what? Sometimes, even when that happens, people don't respond. God says, you must sell your house and move. You're not doing this tomorrow. Chances are you're waiting for confirmation. Chances are you may even say, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do that. See, it's going to take time for all of these circumstances to be arranged for your goal and your plan to be fulfilled. So you want to get impatient, you may miss it. Because everything isn't in place yet. See, but you can't take action until everything's set up, or you're going to mess up the plans. See, now, of course, the opposite can be true. Things may all be set up already, staring you in the face. You don't see it. Maybe you're a bit nervous and fearful. Maybe you don't like change. But it's staring at you and saying, okay, now's the time to move. And you're thinking, well, you know, we'll wait a couple of months. it's New Year now, so let's wait until everything's settled down in the New Year. And then, January is really a bad month. So let's look at February. And, really, February, most people are just getting back into work and settling. So maybe March is a better time. But, Easter's more towards April, and that's really a good time. God has set things up, and it's ready now. He's telling you to move now. And if you don't, you know what's going to happen? By the time you're ready, it's not there anymore. All the people have been in place. See, we brought these guys from Switzerland just for 3 weeks, and I waited 4. They've gone home. See, it's too late now. Don't miss God's timing. Yeah, don't rush ahead of him, but don't miss his timing either. Because God is setting it up because you asked him. He didn't set it up because that's just what he wanted. You told him what you wanted. He set it up for you. See, so you better be ready. You better learn to not drag your feet. Because if you miss the opportunity, God's got to start all over again. So how do we do this right now? It is a bit tough, isn't it? Hey? I mean, it's hard enough for me to get my dreams and my goals and my plans together. How do I get the timing right? How do I not open my big mouth with my foot in it? How do I open my mouth when I don't feel like talking? How do I know when to hold back and when to push forward when my emotions may be driving me in the opposite direction? How can we do it the Lord's way? Well, we've got to start by dreaming the right things, setting the right goals, making the right plans, taking the right actions. How are we going to do that? Very simply by learning to hear his voice daily. Daily. Well, God gave me this word on the 15th of December. And we're now sitting on the 31st of December. I've heard God's word. Well, how many more words did you hear between the 16th and the 31st? No, but God gave me his word. He spoke. A few things have happened since then. A few circumstances may have changed since then. What has God told you since? So, well, that was a very special word. Came at a very special time. I had time of fasting and prayer. It's not good enough. You need to hear his voice daily. Daily. Because every day, something new is happening. Every day, the enemy's tried something new. Every day, people have done something new. People have missed it. People have run ahead. People have dragged their feet. Circumstances have changed. What did God tell you today concerning your future? So, well, how do I hear his voice? Oh, we've got that together. We've gone through our prophetic training. We've learned how to hear the voice of God. I can sit down, I can journal, I can get a prophetic word. I know how to interpret my dreams and visions. Now you might. A lot of people don't. What about the people out there who are players in this thing? Are they hearing God's voice? How does God speak? Yes, I'll preach all by itself. See, I've got another half an hour to go now. Just on that one. How does God speak? How do we hear his voice? Let me give you a few ideas. Maybe something you haven't thought of. Okay, God can speak to you in different ways. And if you can recognize that his voice is in it, then you can act on it. Firstly, you could hear him directly in your spirit. And actually, every believer should be able to do this if they develop it. You could hear him directly in your spirit. You could also hear by the angels putting thoughts in your mind. You wake up in the morning and suddenly this thought comes to your mind. Bing! Out of nowhere. Bing! Hey, I hadn't thought about it. That's a jolly good idea. I wonder if that's my imagination. Where's it coming from? See, God can put thoughts in your mind directly from the angels. And then God could speak through someone else. Well, I had a dream last night and God told me to come and share this with you. Prophets love to give you words, don't they? Thus saith the Lord, God revealed something to me. But you see, it doesn't always have to be a prophet. It may be a perfectly normal conversation you're having with somebody. You could be talking about something unspiritual, and this may even be an unbeliever. But they speak some words, and those words just hit you. Pow! Huh? Just in that moment is this. I can hear the voice of God. Was that my imagination? Maybe. But be ready to listen. Well, we were just having a good chat together and we were sharing old stories and things like that. Always have your eyes and your ears open. God can speak to you through a donkey if He really wants to. Okay, and then God can speak to you through circumstances. Things change. That can be God telling you loud and clear. You try to go a certain way, you can't get there. God may be saying, no, it's not the way to go. New circumstances open up. Should I go that way? God could be telling you, yes, that's the way to go. God can speak through worldly sources. You could get an email or an SMS coming in unexpectedly, totally unrelated, perhaps. There could just be something in there. Maybe a little hint. Maybe a little idea. Maybe just something to think about that connects in some way with your goals and your plans and what you're hoping to accomplish. I'm amazed at how often I will get an email. And it can even be a jolly marketing email from somebody, an advert that they're sending, an attempt from a worldly business to offer me their product. And in it, bam! Hey, that's a good idea. Why didn't I try that? Why don't I add that to my plans? And then when things go wrong and you're blocked, is this the enemy? It could be, but it might not be. It might be the Lord just getting your attention, giving you a little hint, saying, hold back, don't go. I'm going to take that door and I'm going to smash it open because God told me that's the way I must go. Maybe that is what God wants. Are you hearing His voice daily to know what you should do and how you should respond? Because every one of these may be the voice of God speaking to you loud and clear. So, how do we approach the new year then? As you go into this new year, stop, take notice. Keep your eyes and your ears open to the things you see round about you and the things that you hear, while at the same time listening to your spirit. Make a note of your dreams, because God can speak to you in your dreams. Got a whole course on how to interpret your dreams if you need help. Otherwise, write in and tell us your dream and we'll try and help. You see, God may be giving you warning or direction in your dreams. A very good way for God to speak to you. Listen carefully to every sermon you hear. Even if the preacher is boring and droning on and you're looking at your watch, and you're saying, man, he's gone on long enough. The seat is hard. I'm tired. Hidden in the middle there somewhere, maybe one little phrase, one little sentence. That is, thus saith the Lord, right at you. God could speak to you that way. Certainly could. God can speak to you while you're chilling out, watching a movie. We've worked hard this week. Let's just have a chill out. We watch a movie and we enjoy the movie. We're sitting enjoying, having a social time, having fun, playing sport, whatever you do to chill out. Well, the last thing you're expecting is God to speak to you, isn't it? Hey, how can God speak through those worldly actors while I'm watching them having sex in bed? Well, should a Christian be watching these movies? Sometimes they throw it in when you don't expect it, Could God speak to you through that? Yeah, He could. He could. Don't waste the time that you use in worldly entertainment. Don't waste it. Look for a message from the Lord. Look for a principle that you can use. Look for something. You could even use an illustration in one of your messages. But God can speak to you through the very events that are being portrayed in that movie. God can speak to you through the actors that you're watching. God can speak to you through the sportsmen that you're watching playing their game. God can speak to you through the music that you're listening to. He's able to speak through any of these things. Be ready. God can speak to you through nature. It's raining again today, and I wanted to go out. We wanted to have a picnic. It's jolly well raining again. Oh! Could God be telling you something? Could he be? Oh, we don't want to hear it, do we? No. Nobody make weather change and tell the clouds to go. Well, that's good if you've got that authority. And yes, it could be the enemy brought it. But could it be that God is even speaking to you through the weather? Could it be? It's entirely possible. Are you prepared to hear that message? Or have you made up your mind that this is a nuisance? What happens when people treat you badly? I'm just being persecuted because I'm a believer, possibly. Your boss suddenly comes to work in a bad mood. Your wife gets out of bed the wrong side, or your husband. People treat you badly. Oh, just got to work our way through this. Why didn't you stop and say, okay, Lord, can I learn something from this? Could it be, Lord, you're talking to me through this? Could it be that my wife's all bent now because I did something wrong? Maybe I went in the wrong direction and it's affected her. That was always her fault, isn't it? Do you know how many times we miss getting direction from God? Because things come against us that we don't like. God could be speaking to you through those very things. And then somebody just gives you unexpected favor out of the blue. Somebody that you never got on at work invites you to lunch for some stupid reason. Your boss smiles. First time. We take these as everyday events in life. God can speak to you through it. God can give you direction. He can say, you know what? In the same way that I gave you favor with this miserable boss, I'm going to open the way for you. See, I can do it. I can do it. You can turn that negative or even over positive situation into a word from the Lord. See, this one we don't like. Okay, I have this extra work for you to do, and I want it done today, even if you have to stay on 2 hours after work. Oh. Are you prepared to hear God in that? Could it be God wanted you to stay for a reason? Are you prepared to even receive that? See, now, if you were in touch with Him, if you were talking with Him daily, these things would not faze you. Because you could let the Lord show you where they fit into His plan and how He's putting the whole picture together to get you to the place where you should be. Learn to use your spiritual Urim and Thummim. Yes, we should be doing that all the time. And if you get a direct word from the Lord, like a prophetic word or a journal, don't say, that's it, I've got the answer, let's do it. Get a full picture. Make sure all the pieces fit together. See, because you know what's going to happen with the prophetic word of the journal. You're going to hear what you want to hear. But the Lord's finally told me I can do this. Let's do it now. But God promised it to me, and He said it was going to be mine in heaven. Yeah, He did. He didn't say tomorrow. Timing is everything. Okay? Make sure you put everything together. Make sure that you've got the full picture. And it's ready to go. And so in conclusion, God has an agenda. The Lord's never in a hurry. Somebody once said, but He's always on time. Oh, it's so frustrating when He dithers and takes His time. I hate dithering people, don't you? I hate people who drag their feet and do things slowly. Who talk and talk for 5-10 minutes. And something that could be said in 30 seconds. Well, listen, maybe in that elaborate speech there somewhere, God may be speaking to you. The Lord has not predetermined what's going to happen. He's working with you to fulfill your dreams, to reach your goals and to experience the joy of fulfillment. So count the cost before you even start. Decide what price you are prepared to pay. Make the necessary sacrifices daily and be consistent. And give it out. I gave it a good bash, but after a week, I just got tired of it. I'll be consistent. And then sometimes you're going to stumble off the road. You're going to miss it completely. You're going to be going on a total detour God never planned. You're right there in the Hamadullas, as we say down here. Lost in left field. It will happen. It's not the end of the road. Get back as quickly as you can on track. Get back onto the path. The new year is a journey waiting to be traveled. Do it right. It could be one of the best journeys you've ever had. Do it the Lord's way. And I think you have a good chance that it will become a reality. Let's journey into this new year together. Let's reach the goals and dreams that God has given us. And let's make this the best year we've ever had. Amen?
Amen.
Hallelujah.